are some of the things we should be looking out for when we put more responsibility in the hands of the student? It sounds great on paper and it looks good so far in practice, but I do worry about it. And I've got a 14-year-old here who is now autonomously learning, and I get nervous by that sometimes. What should we be on the lookout for?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really interesting because one of the things that the teachers have reported back to us during this period is that they were shocked by how little, to begin with, their children could do autonomous learning. So, and also tying it with resilience, teachers reported that if they tried to put something new in the online content, children were crying and having tantrums, and even quite old ones. So the teachers have actually reflected that they have not done a very good job to date of making their learners autonomous or in making them resilient. So that it's been fine if they've just been practicing something they've already learned, but if they actually have to go out and learn something, they've shown a real lack of autonomy. Now, what's happened over the weeks? So that was certainly the reaction in the first 2 or 3 weeks, but now this is getting on to now being 6, 7, 8 weeks. We're now seeing that the capacity of the child to self-direct has increased. Now, sadly, when you talk of one of the dangers, particularly one of the dangers has been a rapid increase too in online safety issues,
Sure.
Cyber security issues, online bullying, those sort of things. So unfortunately, some of that, with the combination of technology, is also opening up those sort of negativities in terms of learning. What we do see, though, when children are learning autonomously, is that their notion of boundaries between subject areas, and perhaps that's something we can come back to as well in terms of why we chose the word fusion, but the boundaries between subject areas have really dissolved in how they want to learn. And so they are, doing things like, we had a great example of a teenager who produced a great set of resources that were related to biology in a general sense. But those resources were a virtual walk through Central Park. Those resources were a recipe for making sourdough bread with, so when they take that content into their hands, the results are very wide and very broad. And I think that what we've been perhaps doing in school has been quite narrow and very content driven rather than learning driven.
Right.
And young people are seeing, well, what do I need to learn? Where can I learn it? Yeah. Also, I think a positive of this has also been the generosity of companies, even some of the really big names in technology and so on, and of schools and of all sorts of organizations, literally making things freely available that before either weren't in the public domain or weren't free. So, you can go to the National Theatre in London and see a wonderful performance of whether it's Shakespeare or a modern play for free in your house, in wonderful quality, and I think this sort of resources that have been, we've just had a whole lot of technology providers providing a whole lot of free things around coding and teaching yourself how to, improve your online communications and so on. This is phenomenal, this amount of generosity from the whole community, the business community, the education community, the charitable sector, really generous at this time.